Hello and welcome back to Earful Conversation Pod. I'm Keisha Partridge. I'm happy to welcome you back to episode 5. So today, just happy New Year's Eve. So we're going to talk a little bit about resolutions and just really what that means, especially with the year that we've had in 2020. I think we really need to speak in to existence some really great things for ourselves moving into 2021. So we'll talk about that a little bit. We'll also finish off discussing expectations, and dive a little bit deeper into what that really means. I hope you did the activity I talked about last week. I'll talk more about what that was, and you can continue that, working on that all the way into 2021. Relationships take work, so constant progression and energy put into it. So let's dive into our question of the day. The question is, what is the best thing about being your age and why? So let's think on that a little bit and we'll be right back. So, what's the best part about being my age without disclosing that personal information? No, I'm just kidding. Um, I think the best part about being my age is just the knowledge that I've gained over the 33 years I've been on this earth. I can have conversations with my elders now. I'm considered kind of an elder depending on how old the child is. They look up to us, and once I say the year I was born, they really think I'm ancient. But regardless, it's how you feel and how you look, you know. So, I think that's the best part, is just having deeper conversations and just feeling like an expert, and just gaining so much knowledge, like actually enjoying reading books, like looking forward to that quality time, picking up a book and reading it and just gaining knowledge is just so important to me now. So I appreciate it more that I am older. So I think that's the best part about being my age, is just appreciating things that I didn't when I was younger, and being respected more to have conversations with my elders. So we're going to jump right into story time. And this is a story time that just somewhat irritated me, but we're going into 2021 and we have to let all of that stuff go. Okay, so I'm a huge rule follower, and I expect, and there goes that word with expectations. I just expect others to do the same. And when I follow certain rules, I do it because I want to save my energy. I preserve my energy, if I want to follow that rule, if I don't want to follow that rule. If it's just something so simple, I'm not even going to put energy into thinking about rebelling against rules. So I try to respect it as long as others respect my boundaries as well, businesses included. So that's the foundation. Now that that's laid, I was at the store. Clearly, in the store, there's signs everywhere about being 6 feet apart. We know it, right? Okay, so I go to get in line, and the people behind me refuse to respect my space. They don't want to follow the 6 feet rule. So I feel myself boiling. I'm just holding it all in because I really don't like confrontation. I don't like going off. I don't like being upset. I hate the feeling, and I really don't like to showcase it in public. So I'm boiling inside, and I'm like, well, I'm 6 feet apart from the guy in front of me. Why can't they respect me? So the only thing I could think of was to turn around and point to the 6 feet apart sign that's on the floor. So that's what I do. And I look at the lady and her family or friends or whatever, and I look at them in their eyes so that we have an understanding. That clearly upset the woman even more. And it causes this stare down. So now we're just staring at each other. And in that moment, like, I thought about, how do I handle this situation without being a Karen? Like, what do I do without coming off what some people in our community call an Uncle Tom and what we all call a Karen? And I'm like, can Black people even be a Karen? I don't know, but I don't want to be that. So I'm like, what can I do in this situation not to be a Karen? So I turn around again and I point to the sign again. And we do this little stare down thing. But finally, and I want to say the youngest person in their group or their clique or family or whatever whispers to the lady something. And I'm like, okay. And I'm just going to assume that she's like, hey, she wants you to be 6 feet apart. You can't do it. So the lady kind of chuckles, smirks with an attitude, and scoots back to the sign. And I say all that to say, like, the youth are going to change the world, because she prevented any type of altercation or the situation to go any other way. Not to say that I'm like that or that I would have took it there or that she would have, but the youngest person came up with the solution. Thank you, youth. And that's going to end our story time segment and move us into our topic. And our topic is going to be half about expectations and a little bit about resolutions for 2021. Last time we discussed expectations that are placed upon us and those that we place upon others. But I wanted to be clear, having expectations are fine, but not communicating those expectations with whom you've placed them on, that's what fails so many relationships. So having expectations, boundaries, are fine. They're completely fine. But when you place things on people and they don't know, how can they really live up to those expectations? So you have to communicate those things. And that's where the activity came into place of making the list of expectations that you have for others around you, those particular that live in your household. That's where a great start is. And then friends and outside of that as well. And then what you believe are expectations that others have for you. And once you've completed your list, have those around you complete it as well, and then share and really do the work. And relationships, they take time and energy and just progress. 2021 is just about picking ourselves up and making progress. You know, it's not all going to get fixed in 1 year. Like, we're expecting 2021 to be our year and completely clean up everything 2020 did. And that's not going to be the case. It's going to be a thing of constant progression. And another thing with expectations, you can have good intent, like I said before. I have these expectations for my son to get all A's. Most of the time he does that, but think about the amount of pressure and anxiety that puts on him in every subject, to expect him to be perfect, um, even those subjects that he's not even interested in. It's not fair. And plus, how can you ask something of someone that you didn't accomplish? I wasn't a straight A student. I wasn't perfect. So how can I expect that when that wasn't even expected of me? So we talked about having good intent. Also, what goes hand in hand with that is having unrealistic expectations that you place upon someone. And the only true way that you'll know if an expectation is unrealistic is if you have those conversations with the party that is involved. Then you'll know if your expectation is too high, too low, if you need to make adjustments, and that party can be involved in that process. And you'll understand each other's expectations and if it's realistic or not, and move forward in that way. So communication is best when we're discussing expectations. So we're just going to end that conversation and move on to resolutions. Okay, so resolutions. Social media resolutions are looked at as somewhat a joke or a cliche But with the year that we've had in 2020, I think it's important that we at least look it up and see what resolutions, New Year resolutions, even, what does it mean? So, Google stated to continue good practices. So these are for the people that have already started putting in the work and just want to have a continuation of it. Seems simple, doesn't seem like a problem. Leave it up to social media, you're wrong for that. Next, change undesired traits or behaviors. You see something in yourself that you would like to fix, you make that your New Year's resolution. I don't see anything wrong with that. Next, accomplish a personal goal. You've planned, you've thought about it, you want to do this, you want to do that, and you've made it your New Year's resolution. Facebook, Instagram, what's wrong with that? Next, improve life at the start of the year. Why not? Why not? A lot of people will say you can have a resolution or you can have a goal at any point within the year. And I'm sure people do that as well. But we make an emphasis on at the end of the year, we want to work on something. I don't see why it's an issue if you want to better yourself at any time. So if anybody has something negative to say about you wanting to better yourself for 2021, I'm not sure that you should have those people around, or you should pay attention to that, especially with the year that we've had in 2020. New Year's resolutions are all welcomed. Please send in what yours is. For myself, I'm going with the first definition of to continue good practices. There's a lot of things that I've already started working on, and I just want to keep it rolling. Stay healthy, stay happy, stay busy, keep family on the front of everything, family over everything, my personal business over everything. And that concludes EP5 of Earful Conversation Pod. Thank you for tuning in and listening. As always, I hope you have a safe New Year's Eve and New Year's Day with your family, friends. Practice social distancing and stay 6 feet apart. No pun intended. And we will catch you back here for EP6. Please send any feedback or topics that you would like to discuss to kpossiblesolutions@gmail.com. Alrighty then, see ya.